Good morning. It is Monday morning, and it is time for just a few musings. I saw something, and I don't remember where I read it. It was either in a book, or it may have even been one of those memes, that pops up on Facebook all the time. But it said that we have all had an experience in our lives that has changed who we are. And I really thought about that, and so I started thinking about what was my one experience in my life that has changed who I am. And so I can go back and think of actually two rather large experiences in my life that changed the course of who I am. And it's easy to come up with those big ones. My father crossed over when I was 9 years old. I was very young, and that certainly changed who I was. It changed who I became. It changed how I looked at the world. It changed how I looked at myself. And I still continue 42 years later, 40 something years later, really looking at that one event and how it affected me, emotionally, how it affected me spiritually, and how it truly changed my life and changed the course of my life. So I can say yes, there is a major experience that I had very early on that changed my life. And then the other experience that I had that absolutely has changed my life is the experience that I had, that very first experience that I had coming into this teaching of medicine work and connecting with that. And that would have been the first time that I went into a sweat lodge. And that experience absolutely changed who I am. And the more I think about it, and the more I really pay attention to that, and I have been thinking about it for the past few days, that idea of the experience changing who we are. What I realized for myself is that, yes, on the surface, it looks like it changed me. It looks like it created a different path for me, either one of these things. And I'm really going to talk about the experience of the medicine work now. Even though it could apply to the experience of my father's death. But I'm going to talk about that moment when I felt completely changed in that sweat lodge. And it was a big, huge experience for me. It was in 2001, and it was very shortly after 9/11. And I felt compelled to go up to ground zero and to be in that space and to walk around and to see and just to feel that. And I had not really had a very strong spiritual path before that experience. So I won't go into all of the details of my experience around being up at ground zero, because that in and of itself was huge. But after being around ground zero and after that exploration of myself and of that situation and my thoughts around it, someone had suggested that what would be really good for me to do would be a sweat lodge, a purification ceremony, a prayer and purification ceremony. And so I had a friend who knew where they held lodges, and I went, and I was afraid a little bit to crawl into what looked like was going to be a dark, small, tight space. And even though there were only 3 of us going into the lodge, I still thought it was going to be small and dark and tight. Little did I know. But I am one who's always been a little bit nervous if there were one too many people on the elevator. I would just wait for the next one because I didn't like that tight, confined space. But there was something in me that told me that being in that lodge that day would change me. And so I did. When it was time for us to enter the lodge, I got down on my hands and knees in a show of respect for the earth, in a show of respect for the lodge. And I touched my forehead to the earth right in the door of the lodge before I went in. And I did that because I saw the lodge leader do that before. I didn't know why until I did it. And I felt that connection to Mother Earth, to place my third eye onto the earth at the entrance to that lodge was very profound. And I felt the energy of the earth move through me. And I stuck my head into that door, and it was dark, but I could still see, and the lodge leader was in the lodge. And suddenly that tiny little space felt so big and so huge. And I found my way. I crawled around into the lodge, and I crawled around, and I sat down in front of the stone pit. And the lodge leader brought the stones in and had the firekeeper close the door. So now we were in complete darkness, completely enclosed in the lodge, which is the womb of Mother Earth. And I have never felt such an opening and such an expanse of the universe. In that moment, I truly felt this great mystery surround me and engulf me and envelop me in such a loving, nurturing way that I knew that I was home. I knew this was exactly where I belonged. And so for the first time, I shared prayers out loud. And I've never prayed out loud other than, rehearsed prayers, at bedtime, those things that we were all taught to say, as children. And I prayed what was in my heart, and I prayed what was in my soul, and I released and I let go of things and thoughts and ideas and feelings and emotions. And I felt so loved and so nurtured. It was truly, truly a profound and life-changing experience. And I didn't want to leave the lodge. No, I practically had to get booted out by the lodge leader. But in that moment, I knew I had found my connection to Creator, to the source of life, to the source of love. And I knew that was my path. And so in a sense, that one experience did change my life. But what I have come to know now through this path is that experience did not change me. That experience opened me up and allowed me to be who I already was. It gave me permission, so to speak, to be true to myself. It gave me permission to be who I am. It gave me permission to come out of hiding. And that's what I think that this is all about. It's not about were we changed, but do we and can we become who we already are, who we were put here on this planet to be. Can we step into that place? Can we step into the truth of who we are? And I know in that moment that I did, and it has been an incredible path. And it has not been easy. It has been difficult. And surely the events of my life have changed since then. But the core and the essence of who I am has not changed. It has just come out. It has come out of hiding. And so over the years of following this path and being true to myself, I've been exposed to things that I never would have been exposed to before. I have traveled. I have met people I never would have met had I not gone into that lodge that day. So, in essence, yes, it changed me. It changed my life. But it changed me and it changed my life by pulling out of me the truth of who I am. So my question to you is, what is that thing for you? What is that thing for you that has allowed you to step fully into who you are? And if you don't feel like you have experienced that yet, then boy, do you have something amazing to look forward to, because you will. It will show up for you. That moment will show up for you, and it will be given to you like a gift, and your life will never be the same. I send you so much love, and I look forward to seeing you soon. Take care.